Guys, there's a fantastic new champion that a lot of you might have pulled or picked up this weekend, and we got to talk about him. He is so freaking good. What's going on, guys? I'm Grinch KD. So today we'll be talking about the Cheshire Cat. Now, about 1 in 50 of you should have picked him up from the Champion Chase tournament. If this video comes out before the tournament ends, then about 1 in 50 of you guys will have him in the next day or so. As well as he was a 2% drop chance from the Prism Shards. Prism Shards aren't out right now, so I can't show you guys. He was like the highlighted champion in the last summon pool, which means about 2% of you guys would have also pulled him from that, assuming that you got the one free one from Sand Devil. If you spent money, then even more of you guys would have pulled him. But he is such a phenomenal champion. The Cheshire Cat is insane, especially for like a legendary nowadays. Like if you pull the Cheshire Cat, you're going to be extremely happy. If you end up winning him or pulling him anyway, you're already extremely happy. He beats a lot of legendaries in the game, but he also does some really unique things that I think are worth talking about. He has some really cool interactions with certain pieces of content. I just want to mention to you guys that have pulled him in case you're struggling in those areas and you can build him to specifically beat that stuff. So let's start with his kit. All right, let's start with his kit, then we'll talk about areas he's good, and then maybe we'll talk about some of his builds. And we'll also touch on Masteries as well. So right away, when we click on the A1, we're already seeing amazing things. So he attacks one enemy, but if he's under a veil, he's going to attack everybody, which is awesome. Just turns it into an AoE attack. He has tons of veil in his kit, by the way, as you will see. And also his damage is based on attack and speed. So the faster you make him, the more damage bonus you get for that. So speed boots on this guy is kind of a no-brainer, because not only are you getting the speed from it, but you're also getting more damage, whereas attack percent boots are just going to give you more damage. So speed boots on this guy for sure. And then on his A2, he attacks one enemy 3 times. If he kills someone, he puts a veil on himself, as well as there is a little tiny effect where he kind of creates like a speed difference between him and the champion that he attacks. He'll drop their speed and increase his speed. This does not work against bosses, as well as this attack also scales off his attack and speed. His A3 attacks all enemies, but before he attacks, he puts veil and increased attack on himself. And then if he kills someone, he grants himself an extra turn, as well as this is also based on attack and speed. And then on his passive, we'll actually start with the passive effect first. So when he gets a turn meter boost, he'll get more of a turn meter boost if he's under veil, as well as when he's under veil, he's also going to get a 15% defense ignore, and on top of that, 15% more damage. So when you stack those on top of each other, that's really nice. Getting the ignored defense and the increased damage is going to mean you hit so much harder, as well as getting more of a boost from turn meter increasing effects is really going to help you in places like the arena or Hydra. Hopefully you've got someone that turn meter boosts in Hydra, like a Nekmothar. And then the active effect, whenever he's about to be fatally hit, places a block damage and a perfect veil on himself. This is really good, almost like a mini secret. That's kind of how it reads to me. And then last but not least, increase ally speed in all battles by 19%. You can also kind of think of this as like an attack aura for himself, because again, he gets damage from speed on his skills. So if you put him as your aura lead, or any champion with speed as your aura lead, he's also getting a boost to his damage through that aura, which is kind of cool. If we look at base stats on the right side, the HP is a little low, the attack is pretty nice, the speed is pretty solid, and then he does come with 30 resist in the bottom right. That's decent. You know, you don't really need the accuracy on him, so it's nice that they spent that stat in the resistance. Not that you would really build him with resistance, but it is nice to have. But guys, before we get too deep in the video, we have a fantastic free legendary down below. For those of you that want to make a second account or your very first account, you're new to Raid Shadow Legends, there's a link down below is going to give you a free legendary Mr. Karato Fox Hunter. He is a fantastic damage dealer basically anywhere in the game that has waves. This guy will carry you super duper hard through your first couple months of the game, as well as he will always have a place on your account in more restrictive late game content. You're really going to like him in those areas like Doom Tower, Secret Rooms, and Cursed City, as well as Faction Wars. You also get 3 fantastic epics alongside him as you level up. So this is the best time to start a new Raid Shadow Legends account. So if that interests you, make sure you hit that link down below. All right, so let's talk about areas that he's going to be really good. So one of the first things I want to mention is shout out to Bronco. He found out that this guy could solo Sand Devil 25 because of his passive. Kind of crazy that a champion like Cheshire Cat, who's a damage dealer, can solo Sand Devil 25. Now I'm sure there's a specific build you need for that, so definitely check out his video if you want to see how to build that. But already, what a unique use for this champion. If you've already got like your arena damage covered and you're struggling for Sand Devil, definitely worth looking at that video and trying to get a build for this guy to take care of that content for you, because farming Sand Devil is so crucial for any account. Obviously, he's going to be really good anywhere in the arena. I think that goes without saying. This guy's going to be an arena monster. Live arena, he strikes me as being like a mini Siegfried. So if you don't have Siegfried, this is probably the next best option if you want a champion that kind of fits the style of him. Also, he's going to be really good against someone like a Rotos. Now, the affinity is a problem. He has the wrong affinity to fight Rotos, but his A2 is that triple hitter, so you'd only need 2 of the hits to crit and hit hard to actually kill the Rotos. The third one could weak hit, you'd be all right, as long as you have enough damage, obviously, to kill the Rotos. But as long as you kind of get relatively normal luck and hit like 2 crits on Rotos out of the 3 hits, you should be chilling. I've also seen that he's really good in Hydra. Specifically in Hydra, you just want to spam his AoE attacks. So you want to spam his A3 and his A1. You could even run him with like a Duchess as well to constantly keep Veil on him, but he actually does a really good job of keeping Veil on himself just through his kit alone. Having another Veil champion with him is just kind of a bonus and just helps keep things more consistent. So far, it also looks like he's kind of decent in the Chimera. Not like one of the top damage dealers, but a relatively good one. This guy would also be a fantastic campaign farmer. Not that that's really worth mentioning if you're later on in the game, but if you're newer and don't have a campaign farmer and you've got this guy, holy cow, this guy will destroy the campaign. And then I believe that this guy could also solo Minotaur stage 15. A lot of well-built, well-kitted damage dealers can do that, and Cheshire Cat definitely fits that criteria as long as you build him well. So I think he could definitely solo Minotaur stage 15. As far as builds go, his kit is really, really good in the way that you don't necessarily need stone skin on him. You can actually run him in 9-piece merciless. My biggest criteria for running champions in 6 or 9-piece merciless is a survivable passive. The Cheshire Cat has that, so you could definitely go 9-piece merciless like my Siegfried. You can actually build them almost the exact same way that you would build a Siegfried because their kits are so similar. And kind of 2 of the most popular builds right now for Siegfried at a higher level are 6-piece, 9-piece merciless, and then like 4 pieces of savage or lethal, and then 4 pieces of feral for that block debuff so you can't get bombed or stunned or anything like that. However, I will say to that, I think there is a better set to run on your Cheshire Cat than savage or lethal. I think the instinct set is actually a really good shout out for the Cheshire Cat because you're getting 20% ignore enemy defense, which isn't as good as something like savage or lethal. In fact, where is lethal? You know, lethal, you get 10% crit rate, 25% ignore enemy defense, but the bonus 12% speed, that also means more damage for your Cheshire Cat. So I think him and Instinct is definitely going to be at least better than Savage. Like, you'd prefer an Instinct build over Savage, I would say, just because that speed is not only speed, but damage as well. It's a little bit harder to say if Instinct is better than Lethal. I guess it depends on if you can get 100% crit rate through Instinct. If you can't get the 100% crit rate on the Instinct set, then yeah, Lethal is definitely better because you want 100% crit rate on your damage dealers. But if you have no problem getting that 100% crit rate, I think Instinct is the way to go. And this is assuming that the pieces of gear you have are equal. Obviously, if you have a way better lethal build than you do instinct gear, go with the lethal, go with the strongest gear that you have. But if it's relatively close, I'd give instinct a try. I think it's a lot better than like savage. So yeah, in my opinion, the 2 most popular builds are going to be your 9 or 6 piece merciless, and then probably the second most popular build or first most popular, depending on who you ask. I know someone like Cruisin prefers feral over the merciless on like a Siegfried, but 4 pieces of feral for that block debuffs on the 4-piece set, so you will need some accessories, and then 4 pieces of instinct for that speed and defense ignore. In my opinion, those are the 2 best builds. I would definitely take instinct over savage or lethal. I just think it meshes with his kit so much better than those other defense ignore sets do. As well as I'll point out an early game build as well. If you're like super early game and you don't have like any ignore defense sets like savage, instinct, or lethal, you should definitely start farming those. But if you don't have any of those, you could also just go triple speed set because you're getting bonus damage from the speed, and speed is such a good set anyway. You could also go impulse as well. Impulse is just basically an upgrade from the speed set, and here's impulse right here. It's just a straight up upgrade from the speed set. So if you have some of this can also be good on the Cheshire Cat. In fact, if you're running the 6-piece merciless and not the 9-piece merciless, you could definitely consider throwing on a regular speed set or 2 pieces of impulse. That would definitely make the build significantly better. So those are gonna be my recommendations on how you should gear your Cheshire Cat. And then as far as masteries go, I'm just pulling up my Deliana here for an example, but as far as masteries go, you're definitely gonna want to go all the way down here to Helm Smasher. Helm Smasher is a no-brainer for any of like your big nukers like that, but also I would recommend Methodical. Methodical's just gonna give you more damage on your default skill, which is your A1. And obviously, if you're under Veil, that A1 is going to be AoE, so this damage is going to add up quite quickly. Just a straight up 10% damage boost after 5 A1s. And then another mastery that's worth pointing out is Whirlwind of Death. You're going to get more speed as you kill enemies. Once you kill 3 enemies in a battle, you've got the max speed boost you can get. But that's going to mean basically more damage on top of the speed. And of course, you can go Deadly Precision if you need the 5% crit rate. And then really, I think the second tree is kind of up to you. I think you can't really go wrong with whatever tree you choose. The counterattack could be nice if you're under a Veil. So you could go something like Deterrence for a chance to counterattack when they apply something to one of your teammates. You could also go something like Retribution for a good chance to counterattack when you take a big hit of damage. And if you've got Perfect Veil on you, you're going to do a nice AoE smack, which is really good. So there's definitely some options in the defense tree, but I think you could also equally argue the support tree. If you look at the support tree, really the one that stands out here to me is Spirit Haste. This could be good for like the solo Sand Devil strategy. You bring some food with you, let them die, and then now you're just 24 speed faster, meaning that you're going to do more damage on top of the speed boost. You just have to account for that if there is a speed tune with that build. This could also be good in Arena if your entire team gets nuked and all you have left is the Cheshire Cat because his passive saved him, maybe this lets you clutch up a little bit easier. But again, as your allies die, this is just going to be a straight up speed and damage increase, which is always nice. So yeah, the second tree is really up to you. I think you just need to kind of focus on where you want to use your Cheshire Cat, and I think that'll help you pick which tree you want to go with, either defense or support. But I think the offense tree is a no-brainer. You 100% got to go this for any of your big damage dealers. But overall, that's going to do it for the Cheshire Cat review. This is a phenomenal legendary, somebody that I would not be sad to watch pop out of a shard one day. Hopefully it's relatively soon, because this guy is insanely good, and I would definitely instantly find a place for him on my account and probably give him some of my best damage dealing gear, because he's just so cool. Probably would run him and Siegfried in live arena. That way they can't get around the annoying passive. You know, if they ban one, they still got to deal with the passive of the other. It'd be kind of funny. It's kind of like fighting two Siegfrieds, honestly, which is really cool. But for those of you that win the tournament or pull them out of your free shard or paid shards, either way, congratulations. This guy is phenomenal. Let me know what you think of him down below. How are you liking him so far? What build do you have on him? Definitely curious if there's any of you guys that have him and know some things that I don't. I have watched a lot of the reviews from the other CCs on YouTube. This guy looks like a freaking monster. So I'm jealous of you guys, but that's going to do it for the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.